So I want to make this video to document my latest episode of New Symptoms. I had a big episode of kind of an overcoming of the stiffness, and um, what happened was I started working at Walmart as a digital shopper. The easiest job in the world. I was looking for an easy job, and it was really working out for me actually just fine. Like, you know, I didn't hate the work. I was keeping moving. There was a lot of things about it that were really working for me. It was like not a lot of hard thinking. I was just go to work, do the thing, keep moving, go home. So actually, it was really working out well. But what so over the time that I worked there, which was I think like maybe 6 weeks, maybe 8 weeks, um, this I was doing great with my movements too. Before I started working at Walmart, I was doing excellent. I almost had no stiffness. I was just going to yoga like 5 days a week. I have a small business, but it's not doing great because I'm don't feel good like every day. And so all I've been doing for really like 10 years is ride my bike. This is how I have so many small things is ride my bike, obsessively just look for small things and go to yoga classes. Exercise, yoga just really helps me. Okay, so but my business isn't going great, so I was like, let's just try out working. Let's see what happens. Might be less stressful than having a business, that's kind of like circling the drain. Like, maybe I will prefer just doing this job, is kind of what I was thinking. So, after about 6 weeks, 8 weeks, or whatever, I did feel the stiffness creeping back. I was trying to maintain my home practice, I was trying to go to yoga class, I was definitely still riding my bicycle, but it just sort of was creeping back. So, I had a shift. The end of this shift, it wasn't anything crazy that I remember, but I do remember at the very end of my shift having a really difficulty talking at all, like making words at all. Like, people would ask me questions, and I remember at one point I would literally like had to gesture, like point gesture, like walk over and point at something because I couldn't say it. So I was like, that's weird. And then I got home from my shift that night, and I had the next day off or 2 days off, and it was just like my arms were the stiffest things in the whole wide world. And it's just like a vice of stiffness. Like, it's like being wrapped in tape, wrapped in tape, wrapped in tape, wrapped in tape. And so I did hours of yoga. I'm like hours of um, body weight exercises, push-ups and planks and side planks, and like just like, you know, yoga stuff, trying to break the stiffness up. And I would break it up and then come back, break it up, come back, break it up, come back, all night. And I would wake up in the middle of the night and be like, ah. So then the next morning, at some point, I'm still doing a lot of yoga. And at some point, I went to pick something up, like grab something like this. Like, I can do it. I can do it. Although that is uncomfortable. But I went to grab something and I did it. I was like my hand failed. So then that happened a couple more times. Also, some other symptoms came up, like nasal regurgitation, like drinking water, but it all comes out my nose. That's only happened with water. It's only happened a few times, like maybe 5 times total over 2 different episodes. Um, but it's like, then I had an episode during the same few days. I had a thing where I was riding my bicycle because I'm still riding my bicycle. I can still like grab things, although certain things just don't feel comfortable. Like I don't feel like I'm gonna, so I'm like hold things like this. But um, I can still ride my bike. I can still grab my bike, and so I'm riding my bike, and this weight, the weight of my head, like I lose the ability to hold my head up. So I'm like riding my bike, and it kind of just sinks. It just sinks down, and I was like, just be calm, and I just kept pedaling, and I lifted my head back up. So that happened, and then this whole time I'm regaining, and I'm just stretching, I'm just working it out constantly. Red lights, I really like red lights on my arms. And so I'm almost, it's just like, it just takes weeks of it coming and coming and coming. And it's like that I don't feel super sick all the time, but it's like, it just keeps coming. New symptoms keep coming. Sometimes the stiffness will lift, and it kind of comes back in waves. And then what kind of happened was that the symptoms moved up, so everything kind of moved up, um, from my um, it moved up my body, like there was a little bit moving up because it's always been in my shins and in my forearms. It moved up a little bit to my quads and my upper arms, but really what happened was it moved up into my neck. And it's like when it moved into my sternum, it's like, oh, you can't feel your sternum, right? You cannot feel your sternum. No, I could feel like the stiffness. I could feel where my sternum actually like connects to my ribs. When it's in my rib cage, I can feel like my ribs. I can feel in between my ribs. So with this, it's like I could feel the very top vertebrae, or like the very bottom of my skull. I think it's the top. I don't know. Maybe some muscles. It's like it feels like really bone deep, but it is my tongue. So then I can feel the entirety of my tongue got stiff, and it's so uncomfortable. It's not actually the tip. It's actually this, and then also right in my jaw, just right there, not like everywhere, just. And then also actually in my sinuses, it almost feels like down here, feels like bone deep. And then I've had several episodes, um not a lot, but it's happened several times where I felt like my face went blank or paralyzed stiff. So it's like definitely the stiffness is moving into my face, making I can see how it's gonna make talking difficult, and eating, chewing, like it's like stiff and weak. So since then I have been recovering. I've been doing yoga as much as possible. There's a heat wave, so I can't ride as much as I want. Um, but I joined a gym. I've also had trouble typing like moments or hours or whatever, where not all the time, just a few hours where my arms are too weak to type like it, but I can still text. Like it's not everything, but it's definitely creeping up. So I have a neurology appointment next month, about 1 month from now. I talked to my doctor, and I got a pretty quick neurology appointment. He's been trying to get me into a neurologist for a year at least, and I should go, but it's like when you're, I don't know, you're waiting for the symptoms to see how they will progress. And then now I have just this last 6 months have this information about Camp Lejeune and being born and actually conceived and gestated and born in Camp Lejeune. And that I know makes a difference with a neurology doctor diagnosis. Like, did you have exposure to something? So now I know I did have exposure. So, yeah, that's where I'm at. I've definitely been healing. This is always a reminder, healing is always possible. Healing is always possible. You know, like, you take a big hit. I feel like I took a big hit. I feel like my brain took a big hit. My reading comprehension, my fucking memory, took a big hit. But healing is always possible. I've maintained complete keto. I should have fasted more, but I was hungry. I tried to exercise as much as possible. I just try to keep going. I feel floppy a lot, but also my symptoms are lifting a lot, and I'm in a lot less pain. I feel a lot more functional. I'm trying to keep things going. I've been asking my family for help. Experiencing something like that, it's like I don't work at Walmart anymore. It's really changed how I think about jobs. I'm not on disability. I've never been on disability before, but I don't know what's going to happen at this neurology appointment. I don't know what's going to happen if I get a diagnosis. I don't know. There's a lot of don't knows right now. A lot has happened. There's a lot in the air. So that is my just wanted to document that because it's hard to remember. It's already very difficult for me to remember, and it already feels like, oh, is that big of a deal? Which is just so insane to me. Like how quickly I've had like months and months of massive fatigue at very young ages, and then immediately, as soon as it's over, I'm like, did that really happen? You know. So it is happening. I've been trying to tell people what's been happening, so that's what this is all about. Thank you for listening. If you are listening, why are you watching this? What is happening for you?